All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Saturday, March 12th, 2022. One of the top sports headlines today is that Cristiano Ronaldo set the all-time FIFA record for most goals scored. This comes shortly after LeBron sets the scoring record in the NBA. But the funny thing is, it happens on the 12th of March, the pinnacle date of the Ignatian year, and Tom Brady, number 12, just happens to be at the game. And with regards to him scoring the 806th record goal, 806, key digits 8 and 6, it comes on the Pope's 86th day of his age. And the Pope is known not only to be the first Jesuit Pope, but also a huge football fan. There's a film put out about Pope Francis called The Two Popes, and it shows how much he enjoys watching the sport of international football. And of course, here in America, we call football the game that Brady plays, who was at the game. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the significance of Gregg Popovich becoming the winningest NBA coach the day prior on the Pope's 85th day of being 85 years old, what we call the basketball number. Talk about that. We'll talk about the Creighton Blue Jays, the Jesuit school, upsetting Providence with 85 points on the Pope's 85th day of his age. Again, Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope. The Rams won the Super Bowl this year in their 85th season with scoring the winning touchdown with 85 seconds left. And the Daytona 500 right after that won on Roger Penske's 85th birthday. Of course, the first March Madness was in 85, and the Jesuit school, Georgetown, lost to the Catholic school, Villanova. But again, we'll talk about these sports rituals. We'll talk about LeBron scoring 50 versus Washington. Washington's the only team in the NBA that has two connections to the number 50 in Gematria. LeBron scores 50 against them. So anyway, let's start right here with the Ronaldo scoring the 806th record goal. And by the way, after we get off the sports thing, I just want to point out the mockery of Disney Pixar putting out this film, Turning Red, and then I'll talk more about it on GematriaEffectNews 25, my new news channel, because 24 is suspended for 2 weeks. Just keep counting up. But anyway, Ronaldo scores the 806th goal on the Pope's 86th day of his age. And, you know, again on a soccer ball, as we call it in the U.S., a football, the rest of the world, there's two geometric shapes on there. A 5-sided geometric shape, a pentagon, and a 6-sided geometric shape, a hexagon, 5-6. And this comes right after Super Bowl 56, won by Odell Beckham Jr., who's got the birthday, the day leaving 56 days left in the year. And again, Rams got to 2 and 3 in Super Bowls, like David Beckham, the international football player. Again, how he wore number 23 for the LA Galaxy. And the Super Bowl was exactly 41 weeks after his birthday, and Super Bowl's 41. Anyway, on the Pope's 86th day of his age, with Brady in attendance, remember Tom Brady went and got blessed by the Pope. It was John Paul II. That's how long Brady's been in sports. He's been through all of Benedict, through all these years of Francis. He was there when John Paul II was still Pope at the start of his NFL career. But anyway, with regards to it being the pinnacle date of the Society of Jesus in their first ever Ignatian year, the name Jesuits has Gematria of 86. So does the word Downing, as in 10 Downing Street. Of course, above the Prime Minister's door, you have the Jesuit Order's logo stained in the glass. But Jesuits 86. With regards to today being the pinnacle date of the Ignatian year, it's the day in history Ignatius of Loyola was made a saint, the founder of the Jesuits, as well as Francis Xavier, who co-founded the Jesuits. But March 12th is the 71st day of the year. And of course, the calendar we're on is Catholic. It's named after Pope Gregory the 13th. And just notice how in Gematria, forwards and backwards, Manchester United is 71 in the most pure. Like the Society of Jesus, this accomplishment coming on the 71st day of the year. And in reverse, it's 91, which is the 13th triangular. 13, number of time, the moon, the sun, and the 12 constellations, Pope Gregory the 13th, who the calendar is named after, all of these things being rituals in time. Today's 35 days after Ronaldo's birthday. And again, understand, when I first started, I only knew 2 ciphers. And if you were here at the beginning, 90% of my work was in this one cipher. But Today was 35 days after Ronaldo's birthday. Catholic is 35. Holy See is 35. Jesuitism is 35. Europe, the colony or the continent that the Catholic Church used to have control over, and really still does. That's the thing. The whole illusion that we ever got away from the church and the state, it's all the same thing. Europe, 35. And, of course, when you use the most simple cipher, the alphabetic order without the numerology, I is 35. The Catholic Church worships on Sunday the eye of God's the sun to the occult. But we've always called Tom Brady Mr. 35. For years, I've been educating about the rituals of Tom Brady and 35. And with regards to the word I equaling 35, in American football, it's the shape of an eye with the eyelid. The eye is the football. The mind's eye is on the sports. You know, this weekend, I bet a lot of sports fans took their kid to see Pixar Turning Red and didn't think twice about it, other than, you know, their parent used to take them to the Disney movie, and then they were ready to watch the ball game and not seeing the big joke. What's Turning Red? A movie about a young Chinese girl turning red? The Red Scare, communism, Russia, China, the rumors of World War III at this same time, everyone distracted with the sports games and the milestones and, you know, these amazing accomplishments, having no clue about what's going on around in the world around them, the way the world stage is being managed. You know, communist China pretty much owns the United States of America. Anyway, Turning Red. We'll talk more about it. But remember, the Jesuits have been in China, having sway in that nation for longer than the United States of America has existed. The New World Order is the Jesuits. Anyhow, 35 days after his birthday, this accomplishment perfectly synced with the Pope on the most important day of the Ignatian year. And his name in Gematria, Cristiano Ronaldo, is 79 and 187, just like Society of Jesus. It's like Rockefeller, like David Rockefeller, dead on the 79th day of the year. Remember, he was dead at 101 the night before. Cleveland, the Cavs, they combined for 101 points, the big three. Cleveland, the city that the Rockefellers built. Again, sports, news, Jesuits, Rockefellers, Jesuit. Used to put the Jesuit Isus Hominum Salvator in their logo centuries ago. Anyhow, it is 35 days after Ronaldo's birthday. The other thing you could say is it's his 36th day of his age. And 36 matters because IHS, the Jesuit acronym's 36. Brady won his first Super Bowl, Super Bowl 36. And Tom Brady, he's stuck right now. If he doesn't come back to the NFL, if he stays retired, he's stuck on 35 career playoff wins. More than any other player, and we've been calling it the 35 number for a decade. With regards to Ronaldo being 37 right now, as this accomplishment happens on the 12th when Tom Brady wore the number 12, 37 is the 12th prime number. 37, the 12th prime. Tom Brady, number 12. He played for the Patriots and the Buccaneers. And again, just that one most pure cipher, both those ciphers, Patriots 37, Buccaneers 37. Two teams he played for. 37, the 12th prime. This happens while Ronaldo's 37. Again, these guys, beneficiaries of the scripted sports. It's not to say that they don't have talent, but it's to say that they're made to be the greatest because they're chosen. They got the right birthdays. They're for the right rituals. And he plays for Manchester United, Ronaldo. If you didn't notice that before, Manchester United and the Society of Jesus, they're both 71 and 91. You know, on the 71st day of the year playing for Manchester United, he sets this record. Perfect. And, you know, the 3-2 win, 32 rays on the Jesuit logo, 32 sun rays. Remember when the Dodgers just won the World Series for the first time the other year? First World Series in 32 years. Who did they beat? The Rays. 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. And, just to look at older posts of these guys, again, a huge number with the Jesuits is 201. Pope Francis, his birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio is 201, like Ignatius of Loyola is 201, like the Jesuit Order is 201, like Pope Francis, the first pope to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. Back in the day, ESPN wrote this article, The Amazing Numbers Behind Tom Brady's March to 201. They didn't do this for win 200, but they did it for win 201, and that came against the Rams, which equals 201 in Jewish Gematria, the team he beat in Super Bowl 36. And again, St. Louis, their Jesuit university, is credited in the history books with the first forward pass in football, revolutionizing the sport. Tom Brady had so many accomplishments against the Rams. And anyhow, there was that story. With regards to Ronaldo in 201, this is another old story I documented. These are from years ago. Ronaldo was accused of raping Catherine Mayorga. And here, I just want to scroll down. I want you to see. Supposedly it happened on June 13th. And June 13th is the date of the supposed rape. The day leaving 201 days left in the year, Catherine Mayorga, 201. Again, these guys are going through the same types of rituals, the same type of stuff. The Deflate Gate thing was with Indianapolis, and Indianapolis is the only 201 city. Deflate Gate equals 86, like Jesuits 86. Anyway, these two guys, they both been through scandal. They've both been praised and worshipped. But all along the way, their rituals have been all by the same numbers. And then here on this day, this very important day to the Jesuits, when for all these years we've been saying this is what they're doing. The Jesuits run it. You can't get a more clear example than this, because this is the first ever Ignatian year, and this happens on it. You know what I mean? And remember, Russia-Ukraine. Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin meet on Pearl Harbor Day, 201 days after the Ignatian year begins, in a clear Jesuit ritual. Following the steps, we were able to predict that February 22nd would likely be the day things popped off in Ukraine, and it's exactly what happened. And it happened in the Donbass region, which equals 201. Plus everything else. I mean, there's just so much more to it. The whole thing's synced up with the Pope and the Superior General. Okay, now with regards to the day prior, Gregg Popovich becoming the winningest coach in NBA history on March 11th over the Utah Jazz. I mean, if you guys haven't read my last book, I've made it free to download, but you can read right from this book the significance of March 11th and the Utah Jazz and 113 and the National Basketball Association. Well, look at this. Popovich does this on the 85th day of the Pope being 85 years old, right? And just to show you, in that most pure cipher, again, that one where you can do the majority of your work from, Gregg Popovich, 85. This happened yesterday. Today, the Ronaldo record on the 86th day of the Pope's age, 806 goals. On the 85th day of the Pope's age, Gregg Popovich becomes the winningest coach. And remember, in the most simple cipher, basketball is 85. And the Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, is 85. Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope. That 274, it's Isus Hominum Salvator inside the sun. The Catholic Church has celebrated the birthday of the sun, Sol Invictus, since 274 AD. Again, these numbers aren't arbitrary. Anyhow, 85th day of the Pope's age, Gregg Popovich, the winningest coach. And what's the thing we've taught about forever with the basketball, the NBA in 113? In the most simple cipher, Utah Jazz equals 113. In the most pure cipher, the National Basketball Association equals 113. The only team in the league whose full name equals 113 is the Utah Jazz. Out of the 30 teams, there's no others. By the way, 113 is the 30th prime. 30 teams in the league. Yesterday, we thought 30 would hit in the NBA. It hit in 2 games, and they were both big underdogs. Magic upset the Timberwolves. Raptors upset Phoenix. Washington lost to the Lakers. That was the other 30 that could have got picked up. So it hit on 2 out of 3 with nice upsets. Again, we killed college basketball yesterday, killed the NBA yesterday. Having this knowledge pays big dividends. Small bets become big bills when you take advantage of the rig system that we prove day after day. Anyway, so many years educating about the NBA and 113. You know, the faces of the league. Michael Jordan, who beat the Utah Jazz 2 times. Michael Jordan, 113. Kobe Bryant, who emulated Michael Jordan, 113. His retirement poem, Dear Basketball, 113. Again, played his last game against the Utah Jazz, 113. Now Popovich on 11/3 becomes the winningest coach against this team on that date. And remember, last year, it was Rudy Gobert blamed for the coronavirus pandemic. Now, both of these numbers have been super relevant to the coronavirus pandemic, but this is also why you do have to run it in reverse, and we realized it was the other half of the code. Coronavirus pandemic's 113. The world was locked down on March 11th, 113, over the coronavirus pandemic. And, the main thing that they wanted out of it was to get people vaccinated. Vaccines 30. 113 is the 30th prime. Can only say so much about it. But anyway, Gregg Popovich, perfect ritual, perfect NBA date, perfectly sync with the Pope. And see, from understanding, that the ciphers are forwards and backwards, here's what helped us kill yesterday in college basketball. Isus hominum salvator is 266 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope, the 266th pope. And those numbers are likely important because of what happens in the 26th verse of the Bible, which is the sixth day when man is made, 266. And those numbers are related in the string of pi as well. Gematria means geometry and language. It's a lot to explain, but sacred geometry, occult knowledge, all cleverly encoded in English. That's essentially what's happened over thousands of years. There's a reason English is, even though it's a newer language, has been made the language of the world. English, made as it is in the 16th century, the same century the Gregorian calendar came out, the same century the Jesuits started serving the Catholic Church. But Pope Francis also 122. Anyway, yesterday we knew the games that looked like they should all go to 26-6, and we knew to avoid Houston. Houston was the one team yesterday that didn't fall to 26-6, and we didn't think they would. We thought they'd be the game to beat it, to get to 27-5, because that has a connection to Philadelphia, where Harden now is. And you might recall Ben Simmons got traded for Harden while he was on 275 wins with the Sixers. Anyway, it's a lot to explain, but I covered it on February 10th in the video, and we said Simmons would get traded on that day. It made too much sense, and he sure did. But again, in every video, I'm telling you guys, it's so easy to see that it's the Jesuits doing this. It's all synced up with the Pope. It's all synced up, with the Superior General day after day. And anyway, bunch of teams hit 26-6. There were a few other patterns we knew to look for, but again, having this knowledge gives you such an inside edge. And the other thing about having this knowledge is it's not just about gambling, it's about freeing yourself. Like if you're so invested in these sports games, it's about seeing that they're rigged. College and pro. Not everyone on the floor has to be in on it, not everyone in on the court or the field, but the refs, the coaches, and some key players. And in the pros, it looks like most of them are in on it. But in college, you don't need everybody. So anyhow, with regards to LeBron scoring 50 points against Washington, just last weekend we were giving you an awesome lesson on how it was Lock City for the Wizards over the Pacers, the numbers of Washington. A weekend later, LeBron's dropping 50 against Washington. And again, there's not two teams in the NBA. There's just the one that has the double connection to 50. Washington has Gematria 50. And Washington Wizards equals 229, which is the 50th prime number. Prime numbers, so important. Perfect team to score 50 against. LeBron drops his 50. 6 days after, while wearing number 6, he drops 56 in the huge King James ritual, which we talked about. And then, again, looking out for the Jesuit numbers yesterday, the Jesuit school Creighton upsets Providence 85-58 on the Pope's 85th day of being 85 years old. And the thing about the other team scoring 58 is Pope Francis is 58. And, the 59 is huge with Pope Francis. Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year for him. The 59th presidential election with Biden, that was the reason we said, watch. John F. Kennedy equals 59 in that same cipher. John F. Kennedy was number 35, killed at age 46. Catholic is 35 and 46. Biden wins the 59th election. Again, they're all rigged. But exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, then inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. And let's not forget the death of his son, Beau Biden, at age 46, 201 days before the Pope's birthday. But yeah, it's just, day after day, you can just laugh at these games and how ridiculous they are. And by the way, with regards to LeBron scoring 50 and it being a league of Jesuits and Catholic-educated hoops players for the most part, look at like almost everybody in the league. How many of them went to a Catholic high school, a Jesuit high school, Catholic Jesuit university? It's just ridiculous. It's way disproportionate. But Jesuits does have that 50 in it as well. 22, like it's 2022. Again, all the numbers that they got. That's why you got to know your ciphers forwards and backwards. They're doing it forwards and backwards. Now, check this out. You want to see how messed up this is? This goes beyond sports. Have you ever heard that Pixar is known for coding the number 113 in their films? This is something that's been known for a long time. And they say they do it because there's a art studio that a lot of them studied at where the room is A113. They say that's the reason they code 113 in so many of their films. Well, here's the latest Pixar film, Turning Red, about a young Chinese girl in Canada. And I haven't seen the movie, and I'm sure if you watch the movie with your children and you don't think of it in a critical thinking context, it's probably an interesting movie. But still, Turning Red, when red is associated with communism, the Red Scare, China, Russia. At the time of this, the rumors of World War, when again World War I and II were kind of in a way to stop the spread of communism. You know, it's been an ongoing theme with the wars. But look at this. They bring it out on March 11th, and the main character in the movies, her name is Mei Li, which is 113, right? And this is Pixar that codes 113 in their films. So, but they don't tell you about how they do it in Gematria. And keep in mind, 113 is the 30th prime. Soviet Union dissolved 30 years ago. Now, supposedly Putin's trying to rebuild it 30 years later. Dissolved Christmas Day 91, the unconquered sun's birthday, Mithra's birthday, Dionysus' birthday, the solar man's birthday, and also, thanks to the pagan Catholic Church, Jesus' birthday, the sun's birthday, the Son of God. Anyway, 113, the 30th prime, 30 years later, right as Gorbachev turns 91 after being the last ruler of the USSR in 91. The Soviet Union dissolved into 15 nations. Rust equals 15. The Baldwin church shooting of the Ukrainian woman in Rust, Russia. You know what I mean? The Baldwin shooting 201 days after his birthday. I mean, all this stuff's a joke. But anyway, Mei Li is a 13-year-old girl who is torn between being her mother's obedient daughter and the chaos of her youth. As if that were not enough, when she gets too excited, she turns into a big red panda. Okay, so the name of this film, Turning Red, has Gematria 58 and 59. Pope Francis is 59 and 58. And Pope Francis is the 58th pope in the history of the church to not be from Italy. He's of Italian descent, but he's not from Italy. He's from Argentina, which has a communist party that's ruling right now. Isn't that funny? But Turning Red, 58-59, Pope Francis, 59-58. Hey, you know what's funny about the Communist Party of Argentina? They're modeled after Russian communism. And let's not forget that the Jesuits were saved in Russia by Catherine the Great, who preserved the order with 201 Jesuits. And Hulu just made a show about Catherine the Great, which is funny. But oh, shoot, I lost my train of thought. Oh, anyway, Pope Francis, 58-59. We talked about how 59 is important, how 58 is important. And from his birthday to this movie coming out was his 85th day of his age. And in the English extended cipher, which is an important cipher, I don't go there that often, but I noticed the title of the film was 805, the same key digits, 85. And I thought, how perfect to put him out on his 85th day, being 85 years old. The rumor about the Jesuits is that, you know, their motto, Isus hominum salvator, you know, ad merum Dei gloriam, for the greater glory of God, that they use these phrases as they do the most horrific things in the world, like circumvent people, like, trickery. But people don't see, like, again, when I was growing up in school, they taught us about how bad Russia was and communism and how you live in a society where it's nothing but propaganda and the government controls every inch of your life and the businesses are really government run. I mean, it's like, can't people see that that's exactly what's happening here? Walmart took over the world because it's subsidized by the taxpayers. A lot of people don't realize that, but that's how Walmart can afford to charge a little bit less for everything, because they're subsidized with our tax dollars, which pretty much makes them a big government corporation. And Amazon, I mean, it's obvious that that's the government. Look, they even got the post office to start delivering all day on Sunday for them. The post office used to never deliver on Sunday, but then all of a sudden they just start doing it full time for Amazon, and all the employees hate it because they know that they're getting ripped off and having to work more and get paid less. I mean, it's just the sign of fascism, and there's a fine line between fascism and communism. And again, I mean, think about this in America. The majority of the best jobs in this country, who has them? Do Americans have them? No. People have them that are from these communist nations. I mean, there's more Chinese and Russians than there are Americans in big tech companies. And we were learning in school about how bad these Russian nations were, and there's no innovation. They're a bunch of dummies. Well, look at them all. All these young communists coming up, taking all the jobs over here in America where we're so smart and so much better. And it's, we're pretty much owned by China, and it really doesn't look that much different than from what we learned about communism. But anyway, nobody's really noticed because the food shelves have stayed stocked and the TV's been on. But isn't it just so perfect how they do it? Isn't it so perfect? And again, the Red Scare, turning red. Red Scare is like, communism threat. The Communist Party of Argentina is in the ruling party right now. Their foundation date's January 6th. How about all the focus on January 6th lately? Remember how the coronavirus vaccine went live in America on December 14th? That was the day that there was a total solar eclipse in Pope Francis' Argentina, and corona relates to the light that shows around the sun in the time of an eclipse. Just so happened that in the Pope's country, there was an eclipse the day the vaccine went live. You don't think all this stuff's ritualistic? For the record, Communist Party of Argentina is 119, like Francis and Vatican. The word takeover is 119, all-seeing eye. Think about September 11th. Think about Osama dead 119 weeks from Obama taking office. Think about Operation Amalgam Virgo. I noticed the Chinese Communist Party is going to turn 102 years old next year, July 23rd, 2023. As we know, Art of War 102. Again, the Chinese war general, Sun Tzu, that there's no historical record of. But the reason we know about this book is because Jesuit priest Father Amiot translated it. It's significant that the Communist Party turns 102 years old next year because Art of War's 102, World War's 102. Again, what just went down in Ukraine 102 days after the Superior General's birthday with the military conflict, which was the 102nd day of the pandemic, or the 102nd week of the pandemic starting. The pandemic that was the worst since Spanish flu from 102 years earlier that came out of World War I. Wuhan, China, 102. Sun Tzu died of Wuhan, China, 102. Art of War, 102. Call of Duty, Warzone 102 came out exactly 102 weeks before the Ukraine thing popped off. And it's set in a fictional Ukraine. They got you from the sports games to the video games. EA Sports, it's in the game. All the clues around there. Yeah, EA Sports is in the game. I mean, they got the same kind of engine in the game, the way the game works, just meant to keep it close, scripted. It's just... Anyway, they've been playing us for fools. And, yeah, there's even more to say. The girl's 13, right, in the show. When you write out 13, it has 99, Gematria 99 and 117, like Chinese Communist Party, like the United States of America, named that on September 9th, 99. The Bavarian Illuminati established May 1st, 1776, date with 99 numerology with 13 families. And here, if you didn't know this, from the day the Illuminati was established, May 1st, 1776, to the day this country was named, September 9th, 1776, notice when you write out the United States of America in the most pure cipher, it's 99, like 99, right? If you drop the United States of America is 132. From May 1st to September 9th is a span of 132 days. And again, the Jesuits created the Illuminati, and the Jesuits served the Catholic Church. And Catholic Church is 132, and Roman Catholic's 132. And notice astrological is 132. Again, they got it all synced up. The calendar, astrology, numerology, they got it all synced up. This is the system they built, and that's how they're able to perform these perfect riddles year after year. Last year, like a blatant one was Scottie Pippen's son, who played for the Chicago Bulls. His son dying on the first day of Taurus, the bull. Today you got Tony Braxton's sister dead from cancer, while the moon is in Cancer. And again, just to show you how messed up this stuff is, Toni Braxton puts out a statement about her sister now being a snowflake. And the thing is, Toni Braxton's fourth studio album was called Snowflakes. The fourth album, then 4 is the number associated with death from the Far East. Again, in Chinese, Mandarin, and Japanese, you pronounce the number 4 the same way you pronounce death. So her fourth album is Snowflakes. Well, that album came out October 23rd, 2001, meaning it turned 20 years old. 20 years old, October 23rd, 2021. From that to the death of her sister today, out of nowhere, is exactly 20 weeks after the 20-year anniversary. And, you know, in that most pure cipher, we've talked about this one so many times before. Hold on. First, just think about a lowercase t. It looks like a cross, right? T is the 20th letter of the alphabet. T is the 20th letter of the alphabet. If I write out time, it's 20. If I write out cross, it's 20. If I write out death, it's 20. All of those words are 20 in the most pure cipher. Here. Again, it's just the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. Death, cross, time. Time starts with a T, the 20th letter. There's 4 letters, right? There's so many of these rituals throughout history of people dying in connection to 4, 20. And just think about it. She dies on the 71st day of the year. 71's the 20th prime. Today's Pope Francis' 86th day of his age. Human sacrifice 86, blood sacrifice 86, the Jesuits controlling the world of entertainment, you know, paying your dues, old world practices, sacrifice to, you know, ancient gods, planets. That's what these people are into. Pope Francis was born on the first day of Saturnalia. I mean, you know, Saturn's connected to time, death, judgment. The Grim Reaper's scythe comes from Saturn's sickle. Anyway, 20 weeks after the 20-year anniversary, she dies on this Ignatian peak day, again, the 71st day of the year, the 20th prime, and she comes out and calls her a snowflake. And again, I mean, it's not hard to research this stuff, you guys. Toni Braxton discography. This is what you go back and look at. And thanks to the internet, you know, a lot of information on the internet. Her first album, Toni Braxton, July 13th, 93. Speaking of Saturn, that's the 93 thing. Second album, Secrets, June 18th, 96. Third album, The Heat, April 25th, 2000. Then boom, Snowflakes. When I saw that, I was like, man, you got to be kidding me. And then I measure from the thing and I go, man, you got to be kidding me. Exactly 20 weeks from the 20-year anniversary. Another example. Her album Libra came out on the day the Jesuits were recognized by Rome. She, you know, her sister supposedly tried to commit suicide July 17th, 2020. Her sister's name equals 177. You run it the other way, the Jesuit order is 177 instead of 201. That was the day they knighted King Tom, and then he died 201 days later, the day after Burma's government fell, and he was known for the Burma campaign. But yeah, she had her niece die recently, her sister with a suicide attempt. August 28th, 2020, that's the day Chadwick Boseman died. She put out an album that day. I didn't even know that. It peaked at 163, the 38th prime. I didn't realize she put out an album the day Chadwick Boseman died by the numbers. But yeah, I mean, this is the stuff that goes on every day. Saudi Arabia equals 86. Today on Pope Francis' 86th day of his age, Saudi Arabia executes 81 men in one day, the biggest mass execution in decades. Saudi Arabia in the most simple cipher, 86. When you run it in reverse, it's 85. Today's Pope Francis' 86th day of his age, 85 days after his birthday. The word ritual is 81. Human sacrifice, blood sacrifice, 86. 86 to get rid of. These are sick jokes. And remember, they call Saudi Arabia the 51st state. They also call that to Israel. But, you know, and remember how involved both those nations were with 9/11. But here, I want to show you this. I covered this yesterday, but just to understand that the Jesuits really do run the whole damn show. You know, years ago, I was showing you how a Simpsons episode showed that the Patriots were going to win the Super Bowl before it did. The Simpsons are known for predicting things, but are they really predicting, or are they just giving us hints because we're living out a planned agenda, planned scripts? People have made a big deal, mainstream media has brought attention to this, that Season 23, Episode 1 of The Simpsons, titled The Falcon and the Dough Man, which debuted September 25th, 2011, it foreshadows a conflict in Ukraine. And what's amazing about this is this was the 487th episode of The Simpsons. And the Jesuits turned 487 years old on their last birthday, August 15th, 2021. And that was the day Afghanistan's government fell. And 487 is the 93rd prime. And Afghanistan's the plus 93 international dialing code. Heroin equals 93. The majority of the world's heroin comes out of Afghanistan. And the reason production's been up so much in the 21st century is because of the fact that we went over there and killed the Taliban and brought back opium production. The Taliban had opium pretty much out of Afghanistan. There's been a heroin opioid crisis since 9/11 and the West got back in Afghanistan, and, you know, the drugs are flowing. But August 15th, they turned 487 years old, right? This is the 487th episode. The 93 is a huge number. Saturn is 93. The first episode of The Simpsons was on Saturnalia, the ritual to Saturn, Pope Francis's birthday. But look at this. From the birthday to February 21st, which was the day that Biden sent in, not Biden, Putin. Putin and Biden both are similar names, aren't they? Because they both end with the N. They're short and they both end with the N. Putin, that was the day he sent in supposedly his peacekeeping forces. So August 15th was a span of 191 days from the birthday. February 22nd, the day things really popped off, the day Biden gave his speech at 2:22 local time, that was 191 days later. So the peacekeeping forces go in a span of 191 days. Things pop off the next day, which was 191 days later. So the difference is the span in days later. And look at the name of the show. The Falcon and the Dough Man, 191, like Society of Jesus, like Unconquered Sun. And again, so many rituals done with the Jesuits in this number. So, you know, there's a certain guy that's joined this community who's here to confuse people. I have zero doubt about it. His the majority of the majority of the work he does makes absolutely zero sense. But he's telling people that, you know, this stuff could never be organized by man. This is all just the work of the universe. Bullshit. You know, this is basic arithmetic, counting, planning. You know, this is accounting. It's not even the most complicated form of accounting. It is amazing that they do it, but realize, I mean, the Jesuits are a network of tens of thousands of men. And in the past, they've had hundreds of thousands in their network. I think they have a lot less now because everything's automated and they pretty much got everybody under their thumb. They got everybody right where they want them, in slave school. Jesuit order equals school, not arbitrary. But anyway, these people have got things so planned out, so calculated, and it's just like it says in Art of War. You know, it's better to take over a nation without even fighting a battle. It's better to just take them over with deception, trickery, mind games. You know, these people, man. All right, there's even more, but here, I'll just point out one more thing, actually. Again, the World Economic Forum run by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab, who so many of these world rituals are synced up with. Like, in my opinion, from what I can tell from my research, the three most important Jesuits in the world right now are Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope, Arturo Sosa, who's the current Superior General Leader of the Jesuits, and then Klaus Schwab, the leader of the World Economic Forum. And there's other ones that are real important, like Gavin Newsom, governor of California, but Trudeau in Canada, you know, there's other ones. Donald Trump's a really important one. Joe Biden's another one. But I mean, again, the top three, Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, one of their big partners is BlackRock. And BlackRock worldwide has been buying up properties. And they've said Ukraine's been this awesome market for real estate. That's supposedly what all the, like, Trump people getting in trouble. They're over there in shady deals in Ukraine with real estate and all this. Anyway, one of the trends going on in the world right now is that people are, you know, they're watching the news, they're watching CNN, they're watching MSNBC, they're watching ABC, CBS, whatever they're watching. I'm seeing it everywhere just when I turn on TV. They're telling people a good way to support Ukraine right now is to go online and rent an Airbnb from somebody who has one in Ukraine to bring revenue into the country while things are going off. Okay. You know, it's the thought that counts, right? That's what we think as Americans. But what's really going on? This BlackRock has been buying up properties all over the world. You know, the World Economic Forum said in the summer of 2020, by 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy. You know, you won't have the burdens of ownership. If you've ever been a house owner, it can be a little bit stressful to own a house because if something happens, unforeseen, especially in this age of shady craftsmanship, you might have a big unexpected bill out of nowhere. And, you know, you might have an older home. It's due for a new roof, a new, you know, water heater, just whatever, you know, something gives out. Big bills can come from ownership. They're trying to sell this idea of just imagine being a renter. Just imagine how much easier life will be. But there's people who don't want this. But the World Economic Forum saying by 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy. It's like they're forecasting something that sounds impossible. But you got to go, well, how can they achieve these kind of things? And, well, maybe what we're kind of experiencing how it works right now in Ukraine. They make people evacuate, as they're making people do under the threat of the Russian invasion. And then CNN shows the footage of bombing of empty buildings, the destruction of real estate. It's like, are people losing their properties right now? Are they being made to evacuate and then just, I mean, anyway, understanding that all of this is arranged and, again, all coordinated by the Jesuit leadership of all these nations that are not separate at the top. You know, the people think we're separate, but really all these nations are in cahoots, you know, doing what they need to do to stay rich and in power and exploit us further and further. But anyway, in Ukraine, they're telling us to send our money and support their Airbnbs, but do we know who really owns these properties and who's profiting from the Airbnbs? What if BlackRock has bought up a lot of properties over there, just like they have right here in this country? You know, there's a lot of people in the last year and a half who went to sell their house, and a nice couple came to buy it, and then an anonymous bidder came in and bid $100,000 over them, and then the nice couple couldn't afford the house anymore, so they didn't get a house, but somebody who has big money in the bank did it to that house, and then the other house across the street that went for sale. This has been going on all over. Homes just getting overbid. People can't compete. Money coming in from God knows where, 100,000 more than what everybody else was bidding. Somebody's buying up all the properties all over the place. This is going on everywhere. And who's to say it's not BlackRock doing the same damn thing in Ukraine? And now people are sending their money to Airbnbs, but all they're really essentially doing is sending it to the World Economic Forum, who's helping instigate all this chaos and madness, all these contrived rituals to achieve the goals that they want achieved, higher energy prices, the transition, you know, to... Again, some of their goals are not wrong, but it's just the way they go about things, the way they manipulate. Isn't it nice that Volkswagen just announced their new 201 horsepower all-electronic Volkswagen bus tribute to the hippie mobile, and they announced it on March 9th, which can be in 9-3 in Order of Illuminati's 201 and 93, and again, founded by the Jesuits, the 201 gang. But this whole thing, so many people are doing this right now. They're just looking for an Airbnb on Ukraine and sending their money there. Are you sure you're really helping anyone in Ukraine? You actually could be donating to this evil, treacherous World Economic Forum that's buying up everything and helping create the world where you'll own nothing and be happy. You know? I asked myself how by 2030 they could have me out of my house and I lose my property and I don't know. I mean, do you even really, I mean, even as a homeowner, you still pay all these property tax. I've been saying the same thing. I've been a homeowner since technically we finished the paperwork in 2011. I got the keys like at the start of 2012, but I've pretty much been a homeowner since the start of 2012, so more than 10 years now. Time flies. And the whole time I thought, do I really own this? I owe so much in property taxes. God, property tax. I don't feel like I own anything. It's almost cheaper. I mean, when I first thought about it, I mean, my property taxes were nearly $5,000. I had an awesome apartment downtown Seattle, $750, covered everything. And I even had a parking spot. It was like the best deal in Seattle, but you couldn't get that anymore. But, you know, I mean, you break it down, your property taxes, like, God, I'm almost paying what I was just for an apartment, just in property taxes. Anyway, it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. It could be that you live in government-mandated housing and you don't have a choice where you live. It's based on what number you've been assigned by the government and their new totally managed, you own nothing but are happy because your life's so taken care of for you, you know. Anyway, I just see how easily people are taken. You know, I was talking to somebody yesterday I didn't really know, and they couldn't believe that I was doubting some of the stuff going on in Ukraine. They're like, how can you doubt that when it's on the news? And I was just like, I don't know how you can't doubt what's on the news. And it's just like, I don't know what's wrong with people. And you know what? They're probably donating to an Airbnb in Ukraine right now. I mean, how could it? When isn't everything in the board? It's just I don't even know what's wrong with people, man. But it's just so easy to take. It's so easy to fleece these people. They just believe everything from authority. Anderson Cooper's on there with where to go to support the Airbnb money into Ukraine thing, and they just okay. Remember Anderson Cooper? Where did he do his internship at? Oh, the CIA. Look it up. It's a fact. He says, who cares? It was just an internship at the CIA. Are we sure it didn't turn into a full-time job as a nightly news propagandist? I mean, that's what it looks like to me. But Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America, what's in their logo, in the most pure cipher, the words in their logo, Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America, 201. When was it established in history? September 18th, 47, 201 days after the Pope's birthday. And again, the World Economic Forum, Event 201, the Great Reset, Cyber Polygon, all the simulations about cyber attacks that will cripple the world worse than the pandemic. And now with this whole thing, they're saying Russia and China cyber attackers are a real threat to everybody. It's just, yeah, man. I mean, that's the way they could get us all to the point where we own nothing and we're happy. Our currency collapses. Maybe this time World War comes to the Americas. That's the one thing. World War I and II didn't touch the mainland United States. Maybe World War III does. Maybe our properties are destroyed. Fire from the sky. Too much damage, so there's no way for anyone to replace it. Insurance companies folded. The government couldn't do anything about it. You thought you were, you thought you'd made it. You'd worked hard. You got a house. You paid off your house. Well, shit, you lost everything. Well, it's almost a 2030. You're still alive. And we're here to offer you the solution. Come live in our government apartment for you. We'll have the government snacks, the nonstop government-sponsored TV. All we want from you is to just be, a little guinea pig for Pfizer. You'll own nothing and be happy. I mean, they're telling us that's what their plans are. We'll see how they're going to get there. And it's looking like this might be the way. Just lie, war, fleece. Steal everybody's money, use it to buy up more properties so the nice little couple that's trying to start a life for themselves can't afford the house anymore. Anyway. Most people don't care. They like watching Ronaldo, dribble around the ball, score a nice goal, put a nice bend on it. Anyway. We'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you to everyone who hit the like and the share. And I noticed on this channel, nobody must get a notification. I cannot get any kind of amount of people in here watching on Gematria Effect Sports. GematriaEffectNews, we were back up to nearly 1,000 people watching per stream, and that channel didn't have nearly as many subscribers as this one. I just see how many people are watching right now. It's not very many. But it's funny, this channel is so suppressed. It rarely grows. They've never approved it for monetization. It's the last time it had any views was after Super Bowl 55. We had almost 5,000 people in the live stream, and then my internet connection got cut, and I was hacked, and I couldn't hardly get online for the next 2 days. And since then, I just haven't had anybody watching. So, anyway, thanks to everyone who hit the like and the share. And until next time, Truth Seeker.